Brenton, obviously a couple of little injury niggles out of last week's game. Can you give us a bit of an idea of where some guys are at?
We probably don't know with any of them at this stage. There's 3 or 4 who we probably will give till Saturday morning. So we'll probably pick all those guys who are carrying some little niggles at the moment. But ultimately a decision won't be made until Saturday morning. So probably have a look at our 3 emergencies as well when we look at the sides tonight, because those guys could obviously come into the side as well.
Opportunities for what sort of guys may we see?
Well, I guess we've got a couple of little niggles. Obviously, the ones from the game were Thompson, Kerridge, Grigg. I think they were probably the main 3. Well, I'm probably missing another one as well, but they're probably the 3 we looked at mostly today. We'll have a look at McKernan. McKernan's through his concussion, got through his concussion test, so he'll be available to play. But yeah, we'll probably have to pick an extended squad today, being that we'll have to test a few guys on Saturday.
Dangerfield's ankle is another one.
Dangerfield, he's the one. He's fine. Trained fully today. Nothing to worry about. It's really hard to stop Dangerfield from playing anyway. We know that. But he trained fully today and looked really sharp. He'll have his ankle taped, but most players do these days anyway. But no, he'll be fine, so we don't have to talk too much more about him now.
Did anyone in that group that you dropped post-showdown, did anyone of them regain some faith with you last week?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you leave a player out of a side and bring someone else in, it's not like you put them out and to never bring them back. Ultimately, the guys who are really resilient and really strong, mentally can go back, play state league, and come back in without really missing a beat. But we typically give those players a couple of little things that we need them to work on, improve on. If we see that at that level down, we hope that it improves and translates back to AFL form. So we could make 2 or 3 changes this week, and if it is guys that were left out after the showdown, then I'm sure they'll come in and do their very best to make amends and not be left out of the side again.
You saw them, I didn't. So what ticks on your prospect?
We didn't play that well as a group, but there were some guys that stood up, guys like Sam Shaw, Paul Pleasure, Brodie Martin, Cam Ellis-Yeoman. Jared Lyons got a corky early in the game, but we feel like we can still call upon 4 or 5 players with confidence.
Sando, Pork's got hurt too, got to be okay, and also is Tom Lynch a chance to play Sanford this week, or will he put out another week?
Yeah, Tom Lynch will play this week. He'll be back from his dislocated shoulder. I just don't know whether it'll be at AFL level. There's still a chance, we could select him, but he just hasn't played much footy. We'll have match committee this afternoon and debate that pretty heavily, I think. But yeah, he probably needs, it feels like, a state league run at least just to sort of get back in AFL match condition.
I know every game's big, but at 0-3, St Kilda this week, I mean, you look at must-win matches, I guess this is really a must-win, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, without question, we have to go over there with the attitude that we're going to come home with 4 points. And sometimes when you start 0-3, you feel like you're playing really poorly. I still like the way we're playing in patches, but it's just been in patches. We haven't played 4 quarters of consistent hard footy yet. We still think we're hard to beat when we can put 4 quarters together. In our 3 losses, we've been in each of those 3 games, whether it's been hitting the front in Geelong or whether it's been getting back to, a couple of points down in the showdown, a couple of points down last week against Sydney. But for whatever reasons, we're not running those games out and finishing those games out like we should be. So we've addressed those areas this week, and I'm sure you'll see a 4-quarter performance this week from the Adelaide Footy Club.
So I know there's all been talks of panic buttons, all that sort of stuff, but at 0-3, history's probably not overly kind to you. Do you feel nervous about the year at this early stage yet?
I don't feel nervous, no, because the club is really calm. I mean, internally, we are still really focused on improving as a football team, taking it, obviously, 1 quarter at a time. Now, not even 1 game, I know that old cliche, but we've just got to put our best first quarter together on Sunday against St Kilda. Then we'll look to win the second quarter, so on. But certainly, internally, we're still really confident that a really solid 4-quarter performance is only a week away, and we need more from every player, not just relying on 6 or 7 guys contributing. Once we get a team effort for 4 quarters, we feel like we're not far away. So certainly no internal panic at this stage.
Does the team seem really galvanised about getting this result?
Oh, very much so. It's in the 2.5 years I've been here, the playing group and the coaches have never been closer, and I really mean that. We We're in this together. We're going to fight our way out of this. Whether that can happen this week or in the next 2 or 3 weeks, but we are really determined that as a group we're going to get through this little rough patch, and we'll be a better club when we do that.
What's worrying you? Is it the forwards or defence? What's the biggest worry?
Well, we're giving up big scores. I mean, we've given up 120 points plus in our first 3 games. That's not the back 6. I mean, that's part of the problem. But ultimately, it's team defence. When there's a turnover, we're not running with the same energy back towards the opposition's goal as we are when we've got the ball and running towards our goal. So once we get that better balance, that 50-50 playing complete football, which is when we've got it, we attack, when they've got it, we defend. Once we get back to those real simple basics of footy across all levels, I think we'll be a better team.
What does that say about the team's mentality that they just don't want to run back as hard? Or?
It says a lot about where our mindset is at the moment. I think sometimes when you're trying as hard as you can to possibly play better and make the team better, you feel like you've got to get the ball and score, or you've got to get the ball and hurt the opposition with attack. We've got to put more energy into team defence at the moment. As I said, we can't get in shootouts with teams. I'd much rather prefer a 80-point to 70-point result rather than a 130-point to 120-point result, because I don't think that footy suits us. I don't think that's the style that I want my teams to play. We're better in those sort of grinding, hard-fought games where it's contestable focus.
What's stopping you from sort of saying that he will play at some level this week? How much have you missed him?
We've missed Tom. We've missed another 4 or 5 other players as well. If you threw Henderson, Van Berlo, Lynch, Walker, Brad Crouch back into this side, we're a much more dangerous-looking team. But that's not an excuse. That's just reality. There's other clubs who are still winning with injuries. But once we can get a few of those guys back, and Lynch is probably the next one, then probably Andy Otten, then probably Taylor Walker, then we're starting to feel like we're getting back to full strength. And second half of the year we'll see Van Berlo, Henderson, and probably Crouch in sort of 5-6 weeks. So, but that's another focus. Our focus ultimately is the first quarter against St Kilda. We'll pick a fit side to take on the Saints. Whether that means 3 or 4 changes or just 1 or 2, we'll have to wait and see which guys get through. But I won't take a punt on too many guys if they're sore and injured.
You said about guys being a bit deflated, I suppose, running forward and the ball being turned over and
Yep.
that sort of thing. As a senior coach, have you had to do anything to perhaps work on their mindset, mentality, given that sort of feeling's been happening when you have been scored against Adelaide?
Yeah, what we tried to replicate this week in particular was we tried to fix the turnover issue. We've turned the ball over and been scored against more than any other club in the competition so far. So the area that we focused on mainly this week was those disposal under pressure. So we tried to replicate match conditions in every session that we did, and every drill we did this week has been trying to address that turnover issue. So we made a lot of mistakes this week at training too, but we have to replicate match intensity at training, and hopefully we see that translate into less turnovers on Sunday, because what I don't want is our guys to go further and further into their shells and just play really safe football, because we'll lose that game. We need to be brave, we need to be bold, we need to take the game on, take some risks, because without risks there's no reward.
So what is the confidence thing, Sando? Because you've got a lot of good kicks, but you're missing out in the target.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of anxiety now because there is talk about the Crows turning the ball over. So you imagine now you're a player, you've got the ball, geez, I better not turn this over. So sometimes players even don't want to get the ball because of that anxiety. So my message has been, I don't care if you turn the ball over, but take a risk, play on, try and find a target. And if it turns over, it turns over. But we can't have this anxiety associated with trying to prevent turnovers. We've got to take the game on.
So I know you can't go around hitting blokes, but does your team need to play tougher footy? Like just get into the face opposition more and stand up for danger and other players?
Yeah, it's a good observation. I think we do need to play with a bit more intensity and a bit more aggression. The better sides in the competition bring that every week. So yeah, that's an area that we think we need to improve on too.
So how do you do that?
It's a mentality issue. You have to, and as you said, there's areas that we can actually help each other. Sometimes when you desire to win, you try and get the ball. Sometimes the best thing you can do for the team is block for Dangerfield, or is to block for Rory Sloane so we can get the ball out in space. So we've addressed a couple of those issues this week. I think you'll see a better team performance rather than individuals all playing better this week.
The other thing you can do in terms of scoreboard pressure is actually score yourselves.
Yep.
How are you working on that?
Once again, we're trying to replicate match-like intensity with our goal kicking. So Josh Jenkins, for example, has 6 shots for goal on the weekend and kicks 4 points. We've been doing a lot of technique stuff with Josh, but we haven't probably replicated those, left foot snaps, kicking around the corner. We've probably spent a bit too much time just focusing on his goal kicking technique from set shots. He only had 2 set shots on the weekend and kicked 4 points. So we have to ensure that we're covering all the bases when it comes to goal kicking. It's a bit rare now that you just get the ball in time and space and have a shot for goal, unless you're having a set shot from 30 metres straight in front. So ultimately, again, a bit of a theme, as you've seen, we're trying to replicate match intensity with our training drills. And it's helped this week because we've had an 8-day break. We've been able to get more guys on the track and get a bit more pressure through our guys when they've been training. Yeah, we're looking for a bit more efficiency with where we put the ball and who our targets are too. Yeah, we've got to make sure that when we kick the ball inside 50, preferably to be at inside 30. A deeper entry is easier to defend if there is a turnover. But we're probably been a bit too cute with how we punch the ball inside forward 50.
On the big picture, when you're looking at your list, should you keep going down the path of free agency, which can bring you some salary cap pressure, or
Yep.
uncompromised draft? You've got no draft sanction. Should you now be looking at a bigger picture and a bigger long-term view?
Yeah, we're starting to talk already. I mean, offline, I'm not spending as much time on it, for example, as David Noble is, our list manager, but we do start to talk now about list strategy for 2015. But my focus right today is getting a win against St Kilda. But yeah, be certain that behind the scenes we're looking at the makeup of our squad for 2015 through to 2017. So there'll be a good debate. Is it free agents? Is it get draft picks as high as you can? Is it through trades? But every year we'll look to make our squad better.
Were you doing free agents because you felt you were really close? Maybe you have to rethink it and perhaps develop it?
No, not so much. I think you always bring a player in if he's going to make your squad better. So yeah, I think. I mean, I don't think we're too far away. As I said, any side when they've got their best 22 on the park, I reckon it's so even now, the competition, that from 1st to 10th or 12th this season, it just might be only a couple of little injuries that can drop you that far in the ladder with getting a fit squad together. We'll make those decisions in October, November about who we bring into our team, but we're always looking ultimately to make our squad better.
So when you see Lynch with 800,000, sorry, Frawley with 800,000 on his head,
Yep.
which is part of that salary cap pressure you get as a free agent, does that forge you off?
I'm not sure. I didn't really look into that article, but maybe that was. I'm not sure if he's come out and said, I'm going to a club if they give me 800,000. But yeah, that's the free agency market now. Is players can obviously they can find the amount of money that they think they're worth, but whether that amount is correct, I don't think that would be the case.
Thanks. St Kilda, how high did you rate them? They were supposed to be a cellar dweller, 1-2, very competitive against West Coast and Perth last week. They surprised you?
Oh, trust me, every team's tough now. And even you look, in the recent past, Suns, GWS, Melbourne, but every game is a challenge now. It doesn't matter who you play. We put equal amount of time into every team that we prepare for. So we don't put less time into the bottom 8 or the top 8. Every side we go into, every team we try and prepare for, it's the equal amount of preparation into the opposition. And they're playing some good footy. They led at half-time against West Coast. They won their first 2 games. They're going to be hard to beat on Sunday for sure.